People hated the Rings of Power, and the cast members couldn't stand it. The actors and actresses who played all of the characters in this poor adaptation, who were heavily criticized, have done nothing to make themselves look like they care about feedback or even the source material the show is based on. And now Ismael Cruz Córdova and Sophia Nomvete have started whining yet again about how they felt they were mistreated. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So this has actually happened over the past couple of days where both of these actors have come out and decided to, whine and moan and groan and complain. But let's start with Sophia Nomvete. She said that she was statistically the most attacked cast member. So it says during an appearance at the Hollywood Reporter's Raising Our Voices luncheon, and specifically in a discussion titled The State of Inclusion in Storytelling, of course, Nomvete relayed that her being cast as Disa was a huge moment, both personally and professionally, and I think I kind of skipped in naively thinking that it's gonna be great. I'm a dwarf, it's gonna be such fun. But then she claimed when the announcement came out and the pictures went up of just our faces of who we were playing, I was statistically the most attacked cast member of the entire show. Now, of course, does she share any statistics backing this up? Does she refer to, oh, go to this website and you can see it? No, of course not. She is just saying that because she feels like she was the most attacked. Now, I will say that she was probably the most criticized, but there is a major difference between being criticized and being straight up harassed or attacked, and that's the problem with a lot of actors nowadays. They don't know the difference. If you say, hey, I don't like your character, or hey, I don't think you did a good job acting in this, that is harassment in their eyes, which of course is absurd. They just cannot take criticism these days. But yes, people did heavily criticize Disa and also her actress, because this actress clearly does not know Tolkien, she does not know the source material, and that's why she ultimately doesn't care about the changes that they made in the Rings of Power. I had talked about this interview that she had done around the time that the show was releasing, and I mean, it got completely ratioed. 177 likes to 3.8k dislikes. I mean, she was just going on and on about how, oh, I'm so happy to play like the first female dwarf, even though that, of course, isn't true. And she just made some wacky claims, made herself look even worse. But that's also another big reason to add to the pile of why people dislike her. She claims that people were saying, you're too fat, you're too black, why are you here? And she even had a very polite person say, I'm sure that you're a wonderful actress and a really lovely person. I just don't think you should be part of this. It's not right. And she even claims that her family was threatened. And as I always say, people do like to troll on the internet and people do like to say overly mean things. But that's the thing, is that is just how the internet is. And we are talking about such a beloved property that people did get extremely heated. Now, I do not think that, let's say, 95% of the backlash or even more was, racist backlash. It was just people simply saying, you do not fit into this show or this character. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. You don't fit into the descriptions Tolkien gave, the majority of his characters, especially one that she would be playing. But she didn't want to hear anything when it came to criticisms. It says that Nomvete is intentionally lying, as most of the criticism surrounding the casting has not been about black people not being allowed on screens or in fantasy spaces. It has been about the show diverging from Tolkien's source material, whether that's in how the characters look, in Princess Disa's case, or how the show characterized Galadriel, Elrond, Gil-galad, or even how it depicted the forging of the 3 elven rings. These have been my major criticisms, just the fact of how much they strayed away from the source material. But of course, she is not the only cast member recently to come out and, basically say all of these awful things about the critics of this show, Ismael Cruz Córdova actually doubled down on accusations of racism, still doesn't provide any evidence. Now, this is a running theme with these people. They have provided not even a single screenshot, to back up their claims. They have just simply said, oh, racism, and in her case as well, sexism. So Córdova spoke with Mark Malkin on the Just for Variety podcast, where he first revealed how he wanted to take on the role of Arondir to change the perception of what an elf in The Lord of the Rings is. He told him, I knew what this role would entail. I knew what it would do in the scope of fantasy. I knew I wanted to be part of something historic, especially with the elves. The elves have always been historically portrayed as white and Aryan. I wanted to be an elf. I was a mountain boy. I was in love with nature, and I knew it would change things. And this is not the first that I'm in. This is not the first. I've done a bunch of firsts. First this, first that. I mean, all he is doing is boasting about himself and his career and how he's done the firsts of so many things. He also said, I was not going to take no for something that I believe so strongly in, and I wanted to be part of that change. Yeah, I mean, we had heard this quite a while ago, that he basically forced himself into the cast because he continuously followed up and followed up and followed up and posted on social media and was even talking to the cast members that had already been hired in order to try to get in with them. So it sounds like he was very pushy about it, and he could not accept no for an answer. However, though, he claimed it hurt. It had a psychological and mental health impact. That's something that I'm very, very open about, so that people understand that what they do and say online really hurts people and really had an impact on us. Now, like I always say, yes, people on the internet can be mean, but if you can't handle it, then just don't go on your social media. These people were not like major pieces of the PR machine behind this show. Yes, they went into interviews, but looking at their social media and their standalone social media of these actors, they really didn't post all that much besides a handful of things or retweets and reposts. So it's not like they had to post 5 different things about this show a day. They probably could have very easily stayed off of social media, because it's not like they're going into these interviews where they're actually being criticized and questioned. I mean, all of these interviews were with Variety, and Variety absolutely shilled for this show. Now, both of these actors will be getting more big fat paychecks from Amazon since they are part of season 2, and I don't know when we're going to get more information on season 2, but I'd wager we will be getting at least some kind of material in the next few weeks, maybe posters, maybe teasers, who knows, because clearly they are having these actors go into interviews. I would assume it's because they're trying to get people talking about this show again. But yes, both of these actors have now come out and talked about, racism and sexism and just backlash that they faced while filming and inevitably the release of the first season of Rings of Power. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.